good. So just in case for those watching online, I'm not speaking to myself. We have a great audience of Unam. Say hello. And with our lovely lecturer, Beulah, we can see you in the corner. Thank you. So a third year university students, University of Namibia. I'm still studying here, so I'm still a student at Unam. Whoop, whoop, the place to be. Thank you very much. The discussion will be media management and entrepreneurship. That's the module, but more specifically, presentation and entrepreneurship. So as Beulah mentioned, I will latch a bit on presentation skills, but I think everything that I'm going to discuss about relates to entrepreneurship. May I do add, I am so happy and honored that universities are now taking entrepreneurship seriously. Universities are now incorporating that into the modules so that when graduates graduate, they have a plan B and C until they get employed. I think, let me start with my first question. Who desires to work for themselves? So this is, I would say 50%. Does it look like a 50% ratio? Beulah, or a bit less, 50, 40%? So 50% look like they want to go into the field in entrepreneurship. I think years ago when I started out, entrepreneurship never crossed my mind at all. It was, you graduate, you get a job. You get a job, you escalate up until you are happy, in your managerial executive position. I think conversations are now changing by saying, let me own my own future and my destination. If I were to ask everyone, when it comes to media, who is in the class where they feel this is my passion? Raise of hands. Or are you just doing this for your mom and your dad? Okay, and the ones not raising their hands, what you doing here? So everybody should have a passion. And why I'm asking this question, when we leave here tonight, when we leave this discussion, we need to make sure that we are doing what we enjoy, number one. And if it comes to entrepreneurship, we are doing what we are enjoying, plus making a living out of it. Right now, I think many of you are fortunate because you have parents paying, or you have a student loan, or you're very comfortable with where you are at. So understanding the target market that I'm speaking to, you need to understand what your aspirations are. Why are you doing what you're doing? When you watch these kinds of tutorials online on YouTube, why do you get excited about it, right? So on our next slide, we're going to be focusing on various topics and elements, but mostly at the end of the presentation, how to present. When I asked everybody your names, you know what I was doing? I was trying to get that sense of how well you articulate, how well do you sell yourself, since 50% of y'all want to go into business. How well do you communicate, and how do you make people feel when they engage with you, right? Presentation also starts with research, being on time when you come through the classroom door. Was I here on time? All of these things play a role in order for you to stand up confidently, speak, articulate, and sell yourself either for your own business or sell yourself when you are in a job interview at whichever organization. So introduction, entrepreneurship, startup, which is a critical discussion. Everybody's saying entrepreneurship, but it's not that easy. If there was a manual, yes, I think I would have read it before I jumped boat. But entrepreneurship is a beast. It's a monster, ever-growing monster. I'm not scaring you off, no. But it's also giving you advice on starting up the business 6 years ago. We'll be touching about on Poya Media itself, where we've been, presentation, branding especially, and how do we incorporate, sorry for the double R, how do we incorporate our digital world, which is so, so important. Everybody has gadgets, right? Everybody has a cell phone. We're going to click on to the next one in a bit as well. So with everybody that is online right now, how do we make our models suitable for the corporate world when it comes to the digital space? Beulah gave you an assignment to come up with a great business idea. Sometimes we think these are funny jokes, but at the end of the day, you'll be sitting here doing your Mahangu Instant Pop and making money out of it and providing food for your family. So everything you do is in preparation for your purpose. Poya Media, let me do a focus group study. Has anybody heard of Poya Media before? Raise of hands. Oh, thank you. Wait, keep the hands up. Hang on. Who knows? I didn't stage this. Who knows about Poya Media? Oh, there we about, and if I would ask you right now, you would probably say because of the digital landscape. How did you hear about Poya Media? Through? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, okay. Employees, I hope they said good things. Okay, did they badmouth? Thank you so much. I didn't pay them either. So again, online presence is so important so that you can sell yourself and speak to people online that you don't even know of, but they can be your potential customers. Entrepreneurship, it's a beast. I know Beulah's probably spoken about entrepreneurship. I saw your course outline, so I don't want to go back to the drawing board, but we need to make sure that we're on the same page when we understand what entrepreneurship means. So in a very good articulate way, it says the activity of setting up a business or businesses, taking on financial risks in the hope, I like how they say hope of profit. I think with business owners, it makes it seem like it's so easy, like you can just wake up and make money. Sometimes you gotta dress the part until you really are rich. You know what I'm saying? In business. So with entrepreneurship, it's about trying to fill the gap. What is your idea? For example, your assignment that you had. How do we make an idea come to life? And it needs to be a need. If anything taught us the best lesson, COVID. When people don't need you, you are a want. And if you are a want, you can easily go out of business. I can stand here by saying that Poya Media has been in business because we are a need. Everybody needs to communicate. COVID, how much appreciation to PROs. Thank you. For those that, in the boardroom discussions, Beulah can agree. PR is probably here from finance. It's here with HR. It's here with, what else is there? There are so many other departments. And then it's the nice to have beautiful PR. But COVID taught us we are the heart. We are the brain that keeps everybody when we are displaced in remote areas with internal and external communication. On the next slide, when we also further unpack entrepreneurship, I'm going to just highlight some 4 or 5 keywords that it's been for me personally at Poya Media for the past 6 years. And they would be as follows: perspective and a lifestyle, finding the right idea, developing a plan for your business. Idea is nothing if you don't have a plan and moreover an execution. Like we could, how you talk, oh girl, I'm gonna start my business. Next month, oh, I'm gonna start my business. 6 months, oh, I'm gonna start my business. Next year, oh, I need to start that business. So planning is important, but execution is even more important. Determine your clientele. Poya Media is not gonna be for everybody. If you don't need PR, I don't think I can help you, right? I see yourselves trying to get people's money that have money to solve a problem, to solve a need. Sell your idea. So what was the most difficult part when you had to come up with your idea? Randomly, you can just shoot up your hand and speak. What was the most difficult thing coming up with the business idea with one of your assignments? Yes?
Coming up with the idea itself.
With the idea itself? Okay, so you had a very hard start. Okay, getting an idea was an issue.
Target audience.
Target audience, thank you.
Putting it into words.
Putting into words, maybe finding the idea and how to express or sell your idea.
How the idea is going to make money.
Oh, nice. Entrepreneurship, that's your last thing. You got to make sure that the business model works, and then your profits will slowly trickle in, slowly but surely. I had another hand. Most difficult part in setting up a business. Yes?
Finding exactly what was missing in the market.
What is that need? Research. By doing that, by doing research. But where do you start? There are so many needs. You need to find your niche. You need to find what is it. When I asked you at the beginning, what is your purpose? What makes you happy? The moment you know what makes you happy, the second question is, how do you make money from what makes you happy? When I wake up every morning, I'm excited. I'm excited for work. But again, there are some challenges that set me back and ask myself, girl, what you do? You could have been comfortable in corporate. You could have been just sitting and, you don't have to look for business. So that driving point, the why are you doing what you're doing with a purpose is important. Meet others in your field. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate this, but network, network, network. So 20 years, I've been in the broadcasting industry. 20 years, yeah. I'm not gonna tell you how old I am. So with the 20 years of experience, it has allowed a lot of networking platforms, opportunities and how to showcase, but also selling yourself when people already know your brand. So when we talk about presentation, it's gonna go hand in hand also with the brand that you create. With our next slide, we're also gonna focus much on different definitions, right, of what a startup is. Is there a bracket on when you are done being a startup? Does anybody know when you could stop calling your... Okay, wait, don't read. Don't read my slide. Don't read my slide. Don't read the slide. Any idea? When do you stop calling yourself a startup in entrepreneurship?
When you probably set yourself out in the market.
And what are those indicator factors? How have you set yourself out?
If you have clients that just come to you, you don't need to look for clients.
Oh, nice. That's us, but I'm still not there yet. Like we get emails, buy.
You have been already. You started at NBC.
Yes.
For you, it was probably,
You are right.
it was probably easier for you because
Yes.
you're already in the market.
Good. Okay. So you say once you've set yourself and people know about you and you don't have to look for clients, that's when you are not a startup anymore. Any other definition? Or do you want to read what's on the board? So they say you are no longer a startup if you have achieved scale. The definition of scaling up also varies. What does it mean when you've scaled up? You know, does it mean profits? Does it mean how much money you make? Does it mean when I just break even, I can pay my staff, I can pay my office rent, I can pay my expenses? But also look at the number of years. I don't think somebody in the business for 20 years can be a startup. You know, there should be a threshold. So the threshold usually is 5 to 6 years. So I think we are now benchmarking into being MME? So a medium, MSE, medium S something, yes. You know those acronyms. So not the S, but the M. And major factors of being a startup and why I'm going to pause on this. When you graduate, does everybody have a plan of action? How many graduates did we have in April at Unam? Somebody said 4,000? How many graduates were there at the University of Namibia? About 4,000? Okay. So you guys are only about 0.something% of that ratio, right? All of you guys still need to graduate next year. All of you still need to get a job. So what is your plan of action after graduating? Anybody, randomly. Search for a job, okay? And if you have 500 people applying for the same job, like we saw with the Namibia Defense Force and the police officers, what sets you apart from the rest? Connection, know somebody, okay. We're gonna go to presentation a bit too. There's a lot of pointers there. We're getting closer. Yes, ma'am.
Start up my own business, not like start up, but actually just venture. Because I feel like I'm a person that will graduate and go into entrepreneurship with my degree.
Yes.
But I will also go like into the master's, getting my master's
Okay.
in this field. Yeah, that's it.
So, furthering studies. And I'm going to have this debate with you right now. You know how they say an entrepreneur that doesn't even have a piece of paper qualification makes more money? They are just living it up. You know, it's the debate about you can be so qualified, even having a PhD, but you're still just teaching. But the one without a qualification is probably driving that Ferrari. You know, have you heard about that discussion? So let's idle on that. My philosophy, and I'm saying my philosophy because I think everybody has their own philosophy when it comes to academics and entrepreneurship. If I were to have a hardcore entrepreneur right now, they would probably say a lot of things that, you know, differ from my opinions. But when we come back to your, again, purpose and why, you ask yourself, why am I doing my academics? Why did you do a master's? Maybe Bilo wanted to do a master's to teach, you know, class. Maybe I'm doing my PhD because it's self-gratification, because it's my signature end so that I can fill up a gap with research so I can somehow avail it for corporates or whoever else to implement what I've spent 4 years doing on a tangible scale. Right? So you need to ask yourself, when I do my qualifications going hand in hand with the practical work, this day and age, you can't just have only paper. Academics, you cannot, because you'll be one of the 4,000 people looking and waiting for a job, okay? Now the conversations are changing with this being in the module at the University of Namibia to teach entrepreneurial skills. This wasn't there 20, 15 years ago when I started out, no, because the norm was get a job. But now employment is becoming more and more difficult. So I need us to understand the importance of having academics, yes, but equally doing your practicals. When we're in final year student, Poya Media, and we can go to the next slide as well, Poya Media allows final year students to do practical work. It's no use that somebody at Unam, we had interns, but couldn't even do a basic press statement. You need to level up your academics, your qualifications with your skills of being out there in the real world, entrepreneurship. Again, why I was asked to come here, how do we allow presentation and brand what media is about to help us to have a competitive edge? So here's a case study. If I were to ask, I asked the majority of the group, do you know of Poya Media? Thank you, 60, 70% said yes. I asked you through what channels? We said digital platform. My next question is, if I were to ask you top three, four things what Poya Media does, what do you think we do, what we focus, what we specialize in? Pardon? Brand, okay. Brand management?
Brand promotion.
Brand promotion? What else do you think we specialize in? Communications, number 4.
Media coverage.
Media coverage. So again, 4 things that I'm so happy that I didn't poke you and say, hey, you need to say this. No. We genuinely need to align our core purpose of focus of business on what we want people to know what we are about. I think where businesses lose themselves is that they also lose their identity and what is it that you do? You know, if you have a Mahango concept, what about Mahango do you do? What sets Poya Media apart from the rest of the agencies? Is there a customized agency right now that really assists SME startups? We've done our research. No. We've got fully fledged agencies, yes. But do we have an agency that assists the startup? So when we do the research about what is the need, how do we make ourselves unique? How do we place ourselves in the market with an added touch? That's important. When we go into the digital landscape, today Poya Media could be everywhere, but 10, 20 years from now, y'all gonna be starting businesses, you're gonna take my bread and butter money, okay? So meaning you always need to be on top of the game. When I use Poya Media as a simple case study, researching your target audience, as a business owner, you need to know who you are sitting with. You need to know who you are selling yourself to. It's no use that I'm doing fantastic presentation skill, but you don't have money to afford my service, right? It's no use that I'm talking to you, but your business it's got nothing to do with PR. You don't need my services. Not only that, the powerful thing with online digital platforms, we know exactly where Aloide goes to university, what she loves watching, algorithms. We know probably your favorite restaurant because we always tag where we eat, or we know your kind of influence, your source of music, your inspirations. We already know right now probably 90% of yourself than what you know yourself as well, because on our online platforms, this whole hype of sharing and sharing and sharing and giving information every single day has allowed those in business to manipulate and make use of those platforms to market at you and sell themselves. So coming back again to the case study, know your target market, know her hang-arounds. She loves to go to whatever lounge, every Saturdays because she's always posting that she's at that certain bar. So know your clientele so well that you know from the beginning when they wake up until the evening when they go to bed for entrepreneurship and starting up your business. So moving from our case study, let's now focus on to aligning both of the case study of what we've been doing for the past 6 years to make it relevant to yourself. How do you apply organizations that have been doing it into next year or 2 years application? Presentation on brand. So I'm going to read this first bit. They say businesses whose team members have strong presentation skills will be able to position themselves, leadership fields, in the eyes of investors, in partners, potential clients, and this is crucial for creating and getting business. There's a great statistic. Don't read just yet. How many seconds does it take you to get the first impression? How long did it take you to get a first impression of me? 2 seconds. 2 seconds? 5, 10 seconds? 30 seconds. You took you long. Okay. You took long to register for 30 seconds. Okay. Please, my gentleman. Not your ghost behind you. You. 1 second. Oh my goodness. Okay. How many seconds to just get the first impression? I've never met any of you before.
I do.
Wait. Oh my gosh. Where do we meet?
We met at the Unam.
Oh yeah, activations. Dogs. Ah yeah. Okay. Whoop whoop. Pink to D. 280919. Okay. So we saw from 1 second to 10 seconds. Average research suggests that judgment of anybody is passed within 7 seconds. You heard about an elevator pitch for business owners, startups? If you see an investor in an elevator, you should have been able to do who, what, where, when, why, how, and can I get your money? Within an elevator's time of going up, hopefully to the 100th floor, to sell yourself to that investor. Why am I mentioning this? Perception. Give names how you perceive, let's say, me. Verbs, adjectives. You said 1 second. 1 second, sir. What was your first impression? Corporate.
Confident.
Confident.
Sociable.
Sociable.
Energetic.
Energetic.
Bubbly.
Bubbly. Vivacious. Hello. So you are late. Hi. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, this is a mugshot. The latest in the class. Thank you. Thank you. That way. What's your name, mommy?
Celia.
Celia. Okay. Celia, what did you think about me? Your first impression?
Ma'am,
What was your first impression of me?
when I saw you now,
Yeah.
I was like, then I'm guessing that I saw you on the poster that
I didn't pay these people. Okay, we're talking about the first couple of seconds of the perception that people get from you, judging you within the first 7 seconds, which is going to link on to our presentation, how you articulate, how you sell yourself. So all of these adjectives are important. Can I have a clear line of how online also gives a perception that either you don't want or you didn't expect a perception? We can have a whole module about, perception and what online platforms do to a personal brand. But this first 7 seconds is very important. Each time when you come up to this class and you do a presentation, please remember me, and say, when I open up my mouth, I tell my 2 sons, speak up, my children. The world will walk over you if you don't speak up for yourself, all right? So you need, the moment you can open up your voice, sell yourself. Sell yourself within the first, I'm not even gonna say 7 seconds, but this is a general research. Sell yourself within the first 2-3 seconds in a positive way. On our next slide, apart from now making a first impression, a good impression, setting your aims and objectives for your business or your private brand, they also say building trust. And again, I'm speaking to you in the future by saying 2 years from now, when you start up your own business, or even if you are employed somewhere, building trust with employees, if you are employed, or your colleagues, if you're working somewhere, or even your clients, if you start up a business. Mutual sense of trust is very important, trustworthy. When we present and our information is incorrect, what credibility does it say about me? If I were to just make up a statistic and it's not even right, would you believe me for the rest of my 45-minute presentation? Yeah, okay. So again, building trust and having that credibility is very important when it comes to presentations. So when you do your research, know that from what, and we know we're going to cite, and you guys are doing your thesis, and you have to give your, citations, be accurate, be on point. Showing confidence and executive presence. It's all about brand presentation. Can I tell you a secret? You don't have to be loud and out there to be confident. You know that? You don't. You don't have to be the most bubbliest or cheerful person. You can still be that very corporate person that knows what they're talking about with the research, with information, articulating every single word that you say, and you say it with conviction. Do we have any corporate examples of people that we've seen in the media that aren't out like very loud, but they still command this authority? I've got one example that I always make use of, but I'm not going to tell you who she is yet. Who do you think she is?
Maybe Oprah.
Oh, she's very articulate. She's very articulate. But somebody that's not, that.
Is she local?
Yes, it's a Namibian. It's a Namibian. You guys can also give other examples. Who do you think of that isn't that loud, but they've got this presence? Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right. Elago.
Elago from
NBC.
NBC? Elago?
She's a news editor.
News? Okay, all right. Yeah. Anybody else? Josie. The Queen of Speech? Oh, she's very loud. She's very loud. And I love her. If you watch it, I love you for that. Who's heard of the CEO of MBA? Rosalia Martins Alfico. No? I want you to write down that name. Rosalia Martins Alfico. She's the CEO of MBA. Would you agree, Unam? There's something about Rosalia that she's very soft-spoken, very soft-spoken. If you look at her demeanor, at corporate events, at handovers, very, not the, very sociable of the sociable CEOs, but still, when she steps on a podium or speaks, she commands that authority. So again, with presentation doesn't have to be an over-bombarding of confidence. Confidence can be shared based on your individual personality. I think, and let's take a pause for a second. This is off the cuff. You know how much online media has forced us to be somebody who we are not because of who we see and how they do it. And because this person is doing, I need to now be more like Miss Platt. I need to now, like subconsciously, we don't know that we're doing it to ourselves. That we lose who are you really? Yeah, like Rosalia. Like if you look at yourself. No, it's a rhetorical question. I'm sorry. So, but let's take Rosalia. If we look at Rosalia, come up here, Rosalia. Come stand next to me. Yeah, come stand next to me. I'm not the only one in the room. I should have picked on Cecilia, but no, next time. Yeah. So here's Rosalia, right? How would you describe your personality?
Me?
Yeah. Are you shy? Is she shy?
Yeah.
No? Okay, you probably know Rosalia. Are you her best friend? Okay, you can't count. Who? Conflict of interest. Because she's different with best friends.
Yeah.
But like in the classroom.
I think for people she doesn't know she's shy.
Yeah. Introvert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you see yourself comparing to other people online, and we're going to talk about digital platforms, how do you par yourself? And do you think you do things subconsciously, unknowingly, trying to act and beat the same kind of part?
Yeah, I always try. Not really
Mm-hmm.
doing it. Can you just leave it
Yeah.
like
Okay.
that?
All right. Okay. Thank you, Rosalia. You can have a seat. But I want everybody to ask that question. And when we do this public speaking, we, when I say we, Poya Media trained all the MCs for Miss Namibia and Miss Teen. When you look at yourself in the mirror, when you play yourself back, when you record yourself and say, hi, my name is Ilka Platt. I am the MC for tonight. Welcome to the show. And the top 5 is, when you look at yourself, are you authentic? Is that the real version of you? Or when this thing goes off, it's somebody completely different? Like I should be almost like, somebody said I'm energetic, but when I get home, I'm tired because my kids tire me out. But it shouldn't be completely two different ball games, if you get what I'm saying. So with presentation, it's critical to find your authentic voice. Yes, mommy.
I have a question on having an alter ego.
Okay, Sasha, fierce kind? Yeah.
Is that not an authentic side of you? If you have
Yeah.
this person that you hype yourself to be.
My question would be on your question. Why do you bring out that alter ego? Is it for other people? Is it for yourself? Is it for work? Like why would you always need to pull out that Sasha Fierce from your pocket? Unless if you're a performer, you have to, all the ladies, single ladies, you know what I'm saying? So motives, I think, are very important to answer your question. What are the motives? Yes, when you go on TV, there must be a presentation that you can't just be like, "Hi, welcome to Tupapieni. Well, tonight we're gonna talk about, but you should, in a way, also articulate. But again, it's not 100% completely from who you truly are. Yeah. So finding that authentic voice, that's you, that can carry you in the boardroom, or that can sell yourself as a businesswoman or a businessman, if that makes sense. To our next slide. Also, different skills, different ways to help you be more presentable. As a business owner, focus on that specifically. Attracting attention. Developing effective presentation skills increases your chances of attracting attention from the right kind of people. Again, know your target, which is crucial for business growth. It will help you to influence and persuade a certain target market. So, attracting attention from the right people. You need to be memorable. If you leave a room, let's say you are the top 30 of Miss Namibia 2023, people should be able to say, wow, Maria, she really left an impression on me. Unknowingly, but it's like that X factor. You need to stand out. When you go for that job interview, my people, there are going to be 30 other people applying for that job. You're not the only one on this world wanting to be a PRO in this industry. No. You need to be memorable. You need to make a lasting impact and impression within the first 7 seconds. Am I boring you, Petrus?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Somebody yawning. Okay. Increasing employee retention. One thing at Poya Media, which is very important, especially being a founder or being the person that always needs to steer direction in the company, it's important to motivate your own team to keep them part of the team. Why is that important? Because you have one goal, and it's not a one-woman show. If somebody's sick tomorrow, or if you can't be there at your job, your business needs to continue without you. So presentation skills training can lead to improved morale among your team members. I know also Beulah does a fantastic job, this whole incorporating personality. Everybody's excited to be here, or at least that's the impression I got when I joined the classroom. You want to be here, you want to learn, and there's that engaging session. So you need to have the staff morale so that everyone can develop. Can we go a bit personal? Like when you guys are working for 20 years like myself, oh my gosh, when we're working for 20 years, you need to really stay motivated. And you know how difficult that is if you've been doing something 2 years, 5 years in the organization. If you one of those old furnitures at Sanlam, or Petrus is gonna move very, very soon. Oh, okay, so you're still fresh. So you need to be able to not only motivate the team around you, but motivate yourself in order to remain relevant, right? Remain relevant in your specific industry. Greater job satisfaction are less likely to seek alternative employment. We can go to the next slide. And while we go to the next slide, they say people leave bosses and they don't leave organizations. Have you heard that expression? In the industry, not yet? Okay, you're too young. You'll experience that in a bit when it comes to the corporate world. Another really important factor of presentation increases your sales. If we were to have 5 people selling you the same product, this remote control. Let's say if I sold this, if Victor sold it, if Loida sold it, if Salom sold it, who would you buy this from and why? It's the same price, works the same. Who would you purchase it from? From the top 4 or 5. Salom? How, mommy, who would you buy it from? The most prominent, the most vocal.
Best presentation.
The best presentation. Victor, how would you base your buy-in?
How they make me feel.
Yeah, it's emotional selling. You're right. Marketing, aggressive marketing, and ultimately presenting yourself, presenting the brand, and presenting something that you can even sell an ice cube to an Eskimo. That's what presentation is. If you were to forget everything that I said, listen to me right now. With the presentation, you should be able to sell an ice cube to an Eskimo. What does that mean? Even if I don't need it right now, I'll buy it because you made it so believable, right? The power of influencers now in this digital age. Maybe we could also go to the next slide. The power of influencers, I hope everybody knows what we mean when we say influencers. People that are able to influence a decision-making power of an individual. Online media, and we're going to define what digital era is. Online media has turned our whole world upside down. I think what I did 20 years ago is irrelevant to what we're doing now. I have another guest lecture with Menkosa. Menkosa University, we're going to discuss about how PR has changed, especially in the digital space. What have we done 20 years ago and what is not working anymore? Because like dinosaurs, everything becomes extinct. Yep, there's a lifespan for something that is not relevant. So the power, again, of influencing and using that presentation goes a long, long way. So what does digitalization mean to us? In this class of 2023, with a lecture of Ms. Beulah Boyce, you probably mean, I just need a pass. I just need to graduate. Yeah? No, but there's something bigger than this. This is something bigger than that. So digital transformation is the integration of digital technology into all areas. Every sector of business is using online digital transformation. It's changing how you operate and deliver value to your customers. It's also a cultural change that requires organizations to continuously challenge the status quo. May I just point out something? When you go into the corporate, when somebody new comes into Poya Media, I always say, don't tell me how to do things that I'm teaching you. I want you to come to me to show me to do something different, that's more effective, it consumes less time, it generates more money for us, and it's something that we can at least build on what we used to have, right? Growing with technology. When it comes to whatever aspect, element of your life, how are we incorporating the digital space in what we're doing? If I give a typical example of Poya Media, right now most of our clients are moving into the digital space. Newspapers are becoming more and more or less and less effective. We now have more need for the online space area. We now have more need for our own conversations that we are creating ourselves. If we look at NBC, no offense, I think less and less people are watching television in general because I can now watch anything on this gadget in my own time, and we now need to fight for consumers' interest because we are not the monopoly anymore. We need to position ourselves so that we can be the most competitive, most convenient, and sell ourselves so that they can say, I need you. This is a need and not a want. So I think tying everything all together, you can go to the next slide, Beulah. Tying everything from what does entrepreneurship mean? How do we gear yourself from corporate if you're not in the entrepreneurial sphere? How do you align your presentation from a business aspect, and how do we bring it into the modern day and age? So everything ties in holistically to master each critical area so you can say, I'm still in business after 6 years, even during lockdown of COVID when it just started, but making yourself relevant so that you will still be in business years to come. Any questions? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.